Hi, good day. Welcome to Let's Talk Money. It's the space for honest, empowering conversation about money, mindset, and legacy. So I'm your host, Naomi Shah, as you know, your financial strategist. And today joining us, we have Gabrielle Davis.
Hi.
Hey, guys. Gabrielle Davis is a curriculum and inclusive specialist and educational consultant dedicated to philosophy of giving hope and changing lives. Now, guys, I can tell you that's true. We'll discuss that a little later.
Yeah.
With a master's of education in curriculum development and a background in social work and special education. Gabrielle has built a career transforming educational landscape through strategic design and inclusive practice. Beyond her consultancy work, Gabrielle is the founder and host of the podcast From Rut to Royalty. Now, guys, if you're not ready to be royal, I am. Lunch. This podcast was launched this year, January 1. The show serves as a roadmap for royal girl in a busy world. And I am a royal girl. I don't know about you.
You
That's
are.
right, Gabby. Guiding women to elevate their lives through the pillars of faith, elegance, mindset, and growth. By blending her expertise in instructional design with her passion for personal empowerment, Gabrielle helps her audience move from stagnant ruts to their purposeful royal identity. So welcome to Let's Talk Money, Gabby.
Thank you. It's an honor
Yeah.
to be here.
I'm happy. I'm happy. So yeah, guys,
Um,
Gabby and I went way back, and you realize I'll not be calling her Gabrielle throughout the show. I will be
That's
calling
fine.
her Gabby. Yes, we went way back. We went to the University of the Southern Caribbean. Yes, so hello to
For
all
sure.
our Usians that are viewing and
Yeah.
listening. Yes. So note that, guys, you can find her podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and connect with her community on Instagram. And all the links will be placed down in the description box below so that you can connect with her and her community. And you might be wondering, why is Gabby on with us today? Why is an educator on with us? Guess what? We need it, guys. We need it. Today, we are discussing a topic that goes far beyond income and savings, building generational wealth in the Caribbean.
Needed. Needed.
Yes.
Needed. Needed.
And you see
Needed.
why we need, if you listen to the accent, you'd realize I'm Saint Lucian and she's Barbadian. So, yes, yes, we need the mixture. So you get a little of what's going on in Saint Lucia, and she gives you a little of what's going on in Barbados.
You know, Nayo,
So,
because we're so close, right? I
uh,
forget every single time that our accents are so different. It just because I understand you so well. When now you pointed it out, I'm like, oh yeah.
yes, yes. So, like I said, guys, we went way back. So sometimes, we even forget that there's a difference in our accents. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's how far back we've gone. So this is not just about how much money you make. It's about what you keep, how you grow it, and what you pass on.
Needed. Yeah.
So I think I'll let you start off, Gabby, before I just jump in.
For me, I think this is the perfect setting. When you think about generational wealth, it's myself, where is that? Where is that in my family? You know, um, I'm wondering because usually when I hear generational wealth, I'm thinking about the big property that my friends probably would have received at age 18, or perhaps the financial package that was handed down to them. And trust me, I have friends that received a package at 18, and I'm just like, Mom, where is mine? you know, but
Right. Like you're
as you're,
wondering, hello, so generational wealth was organized for them. Wasn't it
yeah, yeah,
organized for
yeah,
me?
yeah. But as you rightfully said, it is more than just cash. It's educational skills, it's values, it's principle. And I think that's where, even if a lot of our Caribbean family members didn't have the financial backing, they ensured that they sent us to school. They ensured that they
Yeah.
instilled strong principles and values. So, kudos to them.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think when it comes to generational wealth, that's where some of us might be misguided a little because normally when people say generational wealth, they're thinking of money, property, land, you know. They don't think of, well, my parents didn't have that educational or they were not schooled to the level that I was schooled at.
That.
Right. So they gave me that opportunity. They gave me that footing so
Mm-hmm.
that I can have that level of schooling that they did not have.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's something we missed out. We miss out a lot. It's not just about cash. It's like intentionally building and transferring something from one generation to the next. So yes, I mean property and land, businesses for those that do investment, but education and skill
Yeah.
has also been passed on.
Yes. And what we
Yeah.
still want the money and the land too.
I know. I know. And that's the purpose of Let's Talk Buddy, that it will not just be education and skill, but it will
Yes.
also be, the money, the learn, the financial literacy, because financial literacy is important.
Yes.
Not everyone has the opportunity where financial literacy was passed on to them. They had to learn it, they had to read and research about it.
That's so true. That's so
Yeah.
true. And I
So,
find, not to cross you, I'm
yeah, go ahead.
thinking, let's say, for example, one did not have the opportunity to have financial literacy passed on to them, but yet they received a package at 18. They would blow that in a night,
Correct,
hypothetically
correct.
speaking. So I do see the marriage between financial literacy, all the educational skills, the values around principles and money, and business, and actually making investments not just for now but for long term. So
Yes,
you're
very
absolutely right.
true. Very true. So apart from financial literacy, now we also important the values and principles around money.
Yes.
So a lot, I don't know in Barbados, but in Saint Lucia, we have a lot of like big business owners that we would have known growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And we wonder what happened when it comes to the kids, because either the business die right after the owner die, and most of them have plenty kids, but the business die after the owner die because the kids cannot manage it or they're fighting over it and stuff like that, especially if they didn't leave a will behind, hoping that everybody will be
Mm.
a united family. This doesn't happen. But because sometimes one, even if the parents had the business and they were not taught how to manage the business, they were not taught
Mhm.
about financial literacy, they were not taught about the values and the principles around managing money, that after um that foundation, the main person which built the foundation, which would be their parents, gone, you find everything crumbles down.
Well, I find in Barbados, you may have a mixed coin. You may
Right.
have the family whereby the financial literacy is passed on. Like I know someone who went to school with me. It's very hilarious, funny enough, because their dad owned this car company, and at school they'll be at school in secondary school telling us how much cars they would have sold over the weekend. And for us, we were like, we know that you could sell anything, literally, and that was passed on to him. He even taught us a very interesting lesson, and I'll share this here. Like when you go buy a pack of gum, he said a pack of gum in Barbados at the time costed $1. They had five in it. he said, why don't you go and everybody would just say, sell me a gum. So he'd sell one strip of gum for 25 cents. He said, do you know that I am making 25% profit off each pack of gum? And if you just go do the same thing, you can, and you sell 4 packs, you could go buy back another set of gum and just continue making this. It will make money for you. And we're just like, we don't have the time. Who wants that? I just want one strip. And he was trying to instill that one principle in us that his dad would have passed on. But for
Correct.
us at the time, we were just like, no, bruv, I just want one strip. And every single day he would tell us this. And it's only now that we got older and he's balling in the bed in terms balling. So he has the coins.
Yeah.
We're just like, that little lesson, you know. So there are some families whereby the principles behind money
Mhm.
is honed and they're accepted, and there are others whereby the children are like, I don't want that rusty business, I want to go to school, and they're thinking going to school and going into a different career is better because they have a white collar job, and the family business kind of goes. So it's a mixed coin here. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's the same everywhere. But you see, the thing about it too, both sides have the pros and cons. So for some, it's
Yes.
beneficial because there are some they instill in their kids well, and then you notice after they passed on, or even while they're still alive, that the kids would now, even if they would have studied and probably go on into their profession, their parents' business become almost like the side hustle, and they would
Mhm.
transform that business. So I've seen it happen even in Saint Lucia, where they transform the business to do even bigger and better things while they're
That's
still
good.
in the job of their passion.
That's
So
good.
you
That's
know
good.
that the principles and values was instilled and they understood the importance of managing money and what they have. Then with the other issue we may find in the Caribbean, where we have a lot of parents working extremely hard,
Mm,
multiple jobs, and they're
yeah,
surviving paycheck to paycheck.
we know it too well. Yeah.
Right. And
Yep.
then sometimes because of that, not much principles are being shared. And you find you come and then sometimes the child do the same thing. Well, I'm thankful that, I'm born in a family where financial literacy was taught very early.
That's good.
Yeah, very early. So I'm thankful for that, but not everybody gets that opportunity. So for me, when I became an adult and then um probably an emergency comes and I don't have the cash for it, this is when what I learned as a child now kicked in. Because then I had to think back and be like, but
That's
when this emergency happened, like my parents have money. So what happened there? Is something wrong with me? And then now I had to go back and then start pulling up the little tricks that they would do and notice that, oh, okay,
yeah.
this is what they were doing. This is what they were doing. So that's why they always had the funds for the emergencies. So now I
Yep.
need to adapt these principles.
Yes.
But some persons didn't have that opportunity and then they have to learn
Mm.
this on their own. So basically, if, I mean, you didn't learn it from your parents, your goal should be to do it differently.
Yes. That's where you come in, Nayo.
Yes,
That's where you
yes.
come in for sure.
Yes,
And one thing my mom told me, every successive generation should do better, you know?
correct.
And I'm
So
like,
you,
yeah, if even if your parents, there's no reason why let's say a 25-year-old plus individual should be blaming their parents saying, "Oh, they didn't teach me." No, you have everything at your fingertips right now, and Niall's right here for you guys.
that's right. And now you have, I mean, I have the shows on YouTube, but you have other persons on YouTube, on Instagram, TikTok, giving financial advice. So you can take a little from everyone to learn.
Yeah,
And that's why it comes into place where we shift in from survival to strategy. And
yes,
that's the problem. Um, Especially for most persons, um, they don't want to shift to strategy
mm,
because they don't want to take action. Because they want to okay, the new year, they do what they would say, new year, new me. But what
No.
is the strategy and the action to make it a new me?
It needs to be systematic. In education, everything must be systematic. You have to look
Right,
for the outcome that you want and work backwards. You know, you need to think about the emergency that could possibly happen and say, hey, I need to put down a little rainy dollar so that I can have the funds there in the event of an emergency. Yeah.
right. And not just an emergency, thinking of, okay, I establishing myself so I can have in case of an emergency, and now establishing something for my kids and probably the kids to come.
Yes.
But we need to
Yes.
start somewhere. We need to start with ourselves first, make the changes on ourselves first so that it can trickle down to the younger ones. So
Yep.
being
Yep. Yep.
intentional about building and protecting what we have is important.
That part is very critical because I find too some of the older generation, not that they didn't have, they would have had, and to me, they had the prime opportunity to purchase land. Land was
Oh,
so cheap
yes.
back
I
then,
know.
you know, and some of them they did, but then they didn't have the financial literacy to manage it. And so they would have sold the land when they thought, hey, I need some money, not really recognizing that this will definitely increase in value and be something that they can hand on to their children. So you are so right, it is nothing that should be lost overnight. You should really think through it. You should really think through it.
Yeah, and with what you said there, it brings us to the point that um the barrier in generational wealth is not lack of
Mm-hmm.
money, it's lack of planning.
Yeah.
Because most times persons think for now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is my situation now, so I want to do the now. So a simple example can be you're a single mom, you have a child, and because of your current situation, you'll be like, me, I'm a single mom. I'm not making much money. I want to stretch the money. So I'm gonna rent a one-bedroom apartment because you're thinking of the now. You're not
Yeah.
thinking of, hey, I have a child. Even if the situation is critical, it's best for me to rent a two-bedroom because the child is growing and I need to teach the child some level of independence.
Yes.
So if I prepare for it now, then as the child grows, I will better be able to structure. And that's where um we conquer these common challenges like how do you plan? No budgeting
Mm.
system.
Wow. I know there are a lot of budgeting hacks out there, the
That's right.
envelope method and the
That's
this and that.
right.
But you have to find what works for
For
you.
you,
You have to
correct.
find what works for you.
Correct. And make the adjustments. There are sacrifices
Yes.
we need to make that in the future we will not regret that we made these sacrifices. So sometimes we need to probably sacrifice ourselves from having wonderful overseas vacation for a period of time until
Yeah.
we can do better, just to
I
make
know.
sure we stay within our budget and plan because we're not planning for now, like I said, we're planning for the future.
It's so true. And then when
Right.
you do plan, you can come to Barbados.
That's right. That's right. Now, guys, note for St. Lucian, I'm not sure for Barbados, but for St. Lucian, the cheapest trips for us currently in St. Lucia is going to Martinique, Dominica, and Guadeloupe.
Mm.
But then, I mean, with much planning and budgeting and putting it together, then we can get to Barbados.
Ah, well, I don't even know what are the most reasonable
Uh-huh.
trips right now in the Caribbean because everything is almost as pricey as going to Miami.
Yes, yes. But for us, because we have the ferry system within these
Uh-huh.
free islands, these are the cheaper ones for us. And
That's
sometimes we
good.
get it to go to St. Vincent too.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully we get our ferry system worked out so we
I
can
know, right?
travel over.
That's yes. So that person can still enjoy themselves even if they're in a tight situation, but they can stay
Yeah.
within their budgeting system.
Yes.
The other challenge most persons may have is poor credit management,
Mm,
no emergency savings, the fear or misunderstanding of investments.
that. I think that
Yes,
hit a lot of Barbadians. The misunderstanding of
invest.
investment. So, a lot, I don't know if it
Mm-hmm.
happens in St. Lucia with a lot of the
It
pyramid
does.
schemes. Ooh, that
Yes,
hit a
it
lot of
does.
persons.
Yes, it does. And for this year I will be having some more talk shows on investing so persons better understand. But I think persons really do misunderstand investing. And because we can invest locally, there are safe and secure investing opportunities
Yes,
within our local financial institutions. But it's a matter of being aware of it, understanding it, and realizing which one is best for you.
that's
The other
true.
one is not having a will or estate plan. And I think a lot of persons, that gets a lot of persons in trouble.
That's me. I don't have it yet. I plan to.
Yeah, but that's this one is mainly for persons with kids, especially if they have more than one kid. This is
Mm,
important. Yes. And the last challenge can be cultural silence around money conversation.
oh, I think I was the one to break the silence. I don't know if it happened in St. Lucia where there, I don't know, I mean, in your family, people could be like, oh, that's budget, but they will give you a hypothetical figure when they're teaching you to budget. They will never tell you how much money they make.
Yes, you find that. So that's why for persons which has done my budgeting session, they realize that I give them practical figures. Most times I try to do it with probably the lower income figure
Mm-hmm.
and teach you how to budget that. Because you see, the thing about budgeting is if you can manage a small amount, it's automatic that as your salary increases, as you make
Mm-hmm.
more income, you will budget it better.
That's good. That's comforting
So
for some people.
yes. So I like
Yes.
to start off most times when I do budgeting sessions, so persons which would have been at our Build Your Legacy masterclass or have done um lecture with me when I do my presentations would realize that I give an actual figure with
That's good.
realistic information when we talk about social security, which is
Mm-hmm.
NIC. I'm not sure if you'll call it NIS, and
And yes, yeah, that's what we call it.
right. And as or we
It's
also
not that
put in
secure though.
right. And I also include PAY, which is income tax in it. So you get a realistic view of, hey, when I'm budgeting, when tax come out, when your NIC, your NIS, your social security
Right.
is out, the balance and how do we manage it?
Right.
Yes. So persons which would like this actual one-on-one with the realistic thing, they can always book a budgeting consultation with me. Yes.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Right. So because of these mistakes, we find a lot of families, they lose homelands and businesses simply because nothing was documented. Or it
That's
was,
true.
or they didn't put a will wasn't in place, an estate plan wasn't in place, and it caused chaos. But generational wealth is not lost overnight, it is
Mm,
lost through neglect.
mm,
So not
that's true.
because our parents or our grandparents made these mistakes that we have to do the same mistakes. We can work on it so that we can do better. Um, I think the next thing we're going to look at is explaining probably the five foundations of generational wealth,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where
Mm.
there's five foundations. And if you have these foundations, you will be able to build and plan generational wealth for your kids and those to come, if it goes as far as that.
Yeah, I think for me, that's where I thought it was very, very important in order to not just think for the now, but to think for the future for my children and my
Correct.
children's children. If you're a
Right.
Bible person, I wish I know you are, and I
Mm-hmm.
think the listeners are too. if you're a Bible person, the Bible does talk about planning for your children's children. And that's
Correct.
one of the five foundations in terms of financial literacy. You must understand budgeting, debt, taxes, all the things that, investing. When you think about these pillars in the Bible, they had wealth. And, you know, that's something that you need to understand, else it wouldn't be sustainable. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So the five foundations, and I think we spoke about it a little earlier, but we're going to go for it, is financial literacy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where you understand budgeting, debt, tax, investing, what you do, what you don't understand, you cannot sustain. But when you understand it, you can manage it.
Yep.
Ownership. And ownership is key. Learn home, business, investments, have ownership. Because you don't build your legacy if you don't have ownership.
It's true.
Discipline and consistency. So, small, consistent actions compound over time. So, wealth is not a get rich quick scheme.
Not the pyramid schemes.
Yes.
Oh
Wealth
my
is
God.
built slowly and lost. It can be lost quickly, but it's
Mm,
slowly. So, for
slowly
you to
but surely.
maintain it, it builds slowly. And then once you have financial literacy, you'll be able to manage it and maintain it.
Yeah.
Protection is important. And when we talk about protection, in some of our videos last year, I did speak about it, insurance, emergency fund, proper documentations, and like we said earlier, your wills. These are
Needs to
important.
be considered.
Education and value.
Mm-hmm.
We need to understand how money works, how to budget, how to save, how to steward wealth responsibly, because we all are stewards.
Yeah. Yeah. We like be better stewards, but we're stewards.
Yes, yes. And as we're coming towards an end, guys, because yes,
Mm-hmm.
we don't want to keep it too long. So we're gonna wrap up. Um, there are some strategies that work within our Caribbean context, and Gabby will assist me and tell me if that too works for them, where you can, start a family budget system, not just one for individual, but you have one for the family.
Yeah. Needed.
Yeah, participation, in the credit union shares and fixed deposits, having a credit union account
They
works for
work.
you.
They work.
Yes,
They work. They
invest
work.
in land and
Yes.
property,
Please
even if
do.
it takes time, you start somewhere. You can also invest in your local financial institution, whether they have stocks or bonds or mutual funds available. Build a side business
Needed. Side
alongside your
hustle.
primary income.
How can you live in this economy without a side business now?
Right, right, right. And guys, Gabby is also an entrepreneur. She has a small business, so she does understand.
Yes.
Use legal tax allowance and deductions wisely, because hey, we can get tax deductions if we do it the correct way.
Mm-hmm.
And keep proper record,
Needed.
especially for our self-employed persons.
Just have a system.
That's correct. And something I
A
want persons to know too is that wealth is a conversation, not a secret. So it's important for us to discuss it at home, especially persons with
Yeah.
kids. It's important for you to tell them the importance of saving, giving, spending wisely, planning for the future. Because if we start early, it will be embedded in them that
Yeah.
they will just grow with it naturally and practice it.
And you
And
need to
sometimes they
teach
get
it.
smarter than you.
Yes, and that's what you want. You want that they could. I mean, like now I could go tell my mom, "Hey, this is where to go and invest your money. This is what we're gonna do next after we pay off all these loans. This is what we're gonna do next." She's like, and if she hadn't taught me and sat me down by the kitchen table as we're here in the kitchen, if she hadn't sat me down by the kitchen table and taught me with hypothetical figures, of course, because she didn't tell me how much she was
Right.
getting paid at the time. This is what you need to put aside. This is what you need to put aside. So when your parents say in the Caribbean terms, I don't know if they say in Saint Lucia, I don't have any money. And you're like, but you have money. They're like, yes, but I don't have money for that. You understand. It's almost like, I think Ramsey says every dollar has a home.
That's right. We budget down to the
Yeah.
last dollar.
Yep, every dollar has a home. So no, as you said, your children will know even be better than you. And I'm telling you, teaching you the things that you didn't know. And that's what we want.
Yes, yes. And as we wrap up, guys, coming to the end, we will have a part two to this, so you can look out for it. Building generational wealth doesn't require millions. It requires intention, discipline, faith. Yes, we need faith in God, guys, and
Yeah.
planning.
Mm-hmm.
So you do not need to be perfect. You just need to start. Like Gabby said, start now. And we've been saying that throughout.
Just start.
Yes, because one well-planned decision today can change your family's future for generations to come.
That's so true. So true. I
Yeah.
endorse that. I endorse that.
All right. So that's it today for Let's Talk Money. Until next session, guys. Bye.
Bye.